Hey, Jeff. I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek at this new podcast I'm working on. Hope you like it.
The Attorney General, called her out. She is actually a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. She's pushing a fake agenda on human trafficking and exploitation, and that she is actually a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. That she is actually her refusal to act and the complete dereliction of her duties, the selective enforcement. That she is 100% part of the problem. I went into circuit court to go serve a notice of hearing on the district attorney. Kent Smith was actually the judge in there. It was a plea hearing. A black guy was pleading out. I remember being in that very spot back in 2017, and those same questions asked. I never noticed who his attorney was next to him, and so I walked. I go over the pews. And I go down the sideline, and I motion for Mickey Mallett, the district attorney. I put the papers in his hand, and I turn around to leave. And I'm walking through the pew, and all of a sudden, Ray Tannehill turns his head. He cocks his head while his client is answering those questions, and he does a triple take. He turns his head again. I could see him start to lose his bearing, start to turn red. And then he did a complete 180, turning around, and I smirked at him and threw the thumbs up as I was walking out of the courtroom, and that was that. But their strategy is to overrun me. Now, it doesn't matter how freaking stupid they make themselves look. They've pretty much thrown care to the wind. They just want to make it look like this guy is crazy. How can it be that everybody, that he's innocent, he's making these claims on everybody? It certainly just couldn't be the case. They're wanting to basically use gang mob influence. And what's really ironic is back in 2017, Todd Lynch, that was the one that supposedly accused me of putting him in fear of his life with an AR-15. He has no other choice but to push this fake narrative to try to get me committed for being crazy. It's already been a decided upon case in the U.S. Supreme Court. Somebody that is able to live, either on their own or with the help of family or friends, that as long as that's the case, that the state has no right to indefinitely, somebody that is able to live, either on their own or with the help of family or friends, that as long as that's the case, that the state has no right to indefinitely basically commit somebody. It's lacking, it's way behind the times, and the state and the county have just proven how easy it is to exploit their own system and basically traffic its own citizens through the broken criminal justice system and courts, where it's Big Brother, it's good old boy, and then traffic that person through their jail or through their jails, prisons, or mental institutions like the state mental hospital that they committed me to for 2.5 weeks. Right now, I feel like the state of Mississippi is indebted to me for what happened back in 2017. There were irreparable, injuries. It has destroyed my life. And why should I have to continue losing when the state needs to start paying? So I'm letting, poverty affidavits, IFP status, waive my $200, $150 filing fee, and being able to proceed as a pauper of the state until the state makes us right. I think basically he has to seal it. Right now, he's in a position where he has to recuse. I feel like he has to recuse. You cannot come in and be a part of of one person's, every single case. Having 6 cases in a row where you're the judge, and 2 out of the 6 cases, it started out as one judge and then got changed to you. That is certainly a insistence on staying involved, on playing a hand, and there's no way that anything can be fair and proceed until he's gone. I got a girl that reached out to me on Facebook. She's from Tennessee or Arkansas. And actually, to be honest with you, it really touched my heart. You know, I really felt her pain. She said, she asked me if I knew of this certain person in the catfish business. And basically, 3.5 years ago, her life completely changed because she was coming through Sunflower County, Mississippi. She had her son and daughter in the car, and his grandson came barreling into them, drunk, DUI. Her daughter had to get a shaft put in her back, and her son died instantly. And she had all these pictures of her and her son, and then pictures of her, you know, her burying her son. You know, her son that was like 3 years old in the casket. She was talking about how it was like records were changed in the courthouse. It looked like, you know, from what she saw, that the guy wasn't even on the docket for criminal trial. We got it straightened out. I was about to set up to do a First Amendment audit of that courthouse. I was going to go in there and I was going to make a public record, you know, request. If they didn't have a policy posted, and they have 24 hours time to give me access, you know, to the records that I'm seeking. Like, I'm ready to fight with any attorney on it, because I know the Public Record Act, and I know these governments are trying to hide and cover things up, and I've got the don't give a shit attitude. I'm going to get it anyways. I'm not somebody that's scared and basically going to act like I'm guilty. If I know what I'm doing is, you know, if there's nothing wrong with it, if it's, you know, the First Amendment protects the right to petition the government on any grievance or any issue, and without any kind of interference into the matter. And so long as I'm not threatening anybody, I'm here to fully assemble and to petition the government for you know, on a certain matter. If you look back at everything back in 2017, I may have had some stupid videos, which I have the entire Facebook wall, every single thing that I posted, that they were basically referring to. There were some things, I did the drunk live streams one night, and that was what they really blew out of proportion. But my fight has stayed constant. I believe we need to dissolve the two-party system. I think that there needs to be a strong third that comes in as like the constitutional party, or constitutionalist party, the patriot party. I think there needs to be a third, because I feel like, honestly, and I've publicly disbanded myself from the Republican Party. I called the Republican Party headquarters down in Jackson, and I said, you know, I'm extremely, I'm at an impasse with the Republican Party not unifying the way that they need to unify to get things done. And, you know, there are too many people that are just Republican in name only. And this is a prime example how this stuff is going on. And the state attorney general's office is a Republican, which I've been a Republican all my life, okay? And my own party has just walked all over me and refused to even, you know, look at, say anything, and address, you know, the fact that this is some shocking things that are happening. How do you just stay silent? I don't hear anything. These people that hated, you know, galore on me back in 2017, they're silent. They haven't said a thing. It's like literally, it's like my message is completely muted out. I believe that these people, by now, they have no doubt of my innocence. I'm saying that, you know, for one, how does any judge, how do they let somebody, you know, go down for something that they are proving that they didn't do, and they're saying, you know, that the fact that they pled out was because they were deprived of all key procedural and substantive due process rights. You know, no, like held for twice the amount of time afforded by law to get an initial hearing. The bond set where it's supposed to be $5,000 to $50,000 was set at $150,000 by a black judge that has a proven track history of setting like racially unjust bonds. Prime example, here recently I had this was a duke it out with Justice Court, because I saw in the news, I'm trying to do a wall on the website where I highlight this stuff, okay? Because just like the Oxford Eagle will put in there when somebody gets arrested for a crime, they'll highlight that, you know, this person's arrested for whatever and, you know, given this bond. I want to highlight the judges, okay, that give stupid bonds, because Judge Bell, the same one that set my bond at $150,000, set a black guy that right before Christmas held somebody up at a gas pump in Oxford, was charged with aggravated stalking. He was captured, you know, on video at the gas station, holding somebody up, and charged with aggravated stalking, given a $2,500 bond by a Justice Court judge. They wouldn't say the person's name. So obviously I said, yeah, that's Bill. That sounds just like Bill. Let me get the public records for that. So I requested it, and that became a shit show in itself right there. But I got the record. They admitted it was Carolyn Bell that did it. And it's like, you mean to tell me that I tell this judge that I had evidence I wanted to show of my complete innocence at my initial hearing. She reminded me, you know, twice, cut me off, and said that I had the right to remain silent. But she never did say I had a right to a preliminary hearing. I was clearly trying to give evidence to the fact of my innocence, you know, through a bill of sale, and this judge cut me off twice to tell me I had the right to remain silent. Okay, but she never did. Obviously, why would I turn down a preliminary hearing if I'm saying I have evidence of my innocence? That should have easily been inferred as, you know, I was needing a preliminary hearing. Yet she set bond at $150,000. Supposedly said no guns as a stipulation of the bond, but never said it. I never heard that, but that was written on the order. And they did that to hold me. They knew I had just days prior to that, I had gotten a $10,000 bank wire from Syntex. I get given a $150,000 bond. 10% is $15,000. Well, I just got $10,000 from Syntex. Okay, that puts it a little bit above what I would have access to. And of course, I wasn't getting it from my family. So they kept me, you know, I found out later that the public defender's office had actually filed a motion to proceed on habeas corpus for bond reductions, citing 2 federal and 2 state constitutional violations, you know, with my unlawful detention. And it was approved that same day for me to proceed. However, nobody ever told me a habeas corpus was ever filed, although I was saying the whole time, you know, I need to get out, okay? Nobody told me that was ever filed. I was worried that Trout wasn't doing anything because he was a public defender. And so my mom ended up hiring Haran out of Grenada. Well, I don't know exactly when she hired Haran. Haran actually never entered an entry of appearance into the circuit court matter. So that's a problem in itself. I'm trying to figure out, okay, why did this habeas corpus go stale? Why was that never acted upon? Why did I never know that was ever filed? Haran, okay, had a bigger interest in Robin and Ray Tannehill. It was after the mayor was elected. It was supposed to be before she was elected. okay? But I argued for a continuance, and it was sometime later on in June that we had a hearing